just whatever.
Let's make an
Try to
intro.
get like a candid.
Let's
But
make an
yeah, this
intro.
is
Boom.
the
Boom.
this is the final two podcast. Would you call it podcast? It's
That's
kind of like a video
100%. Podcast. Full
podcast.
out
This man
podcast.
right here, we got Oliver Tavares. You know, this man star-studded. You can already see the medals and the awards this guy's won.
Literally.
Me and this got this backdrop over here. We're just gonna keep it rolling. But my name's Xheraj. I am a sophomore, rising junior actually, at Fairleigh Dickinson University. I'm an accounting major, and of course, I'm a part of the business program, the Philman College of Business. You want to give your introduction?
Of course. My name is Oliver Tavares. I'm gonna be a senior now. Damn, I'm getting old. 20 years old, finance major, Dominican. You know, the end all be all, everything. I'm just joking, but just really, the point of this whole podcast is I hit up Sal and I was like, why not make a podcast? Like, we talk about these famous people, The Rock, A-Rod, those guys are there. You know what I mean? Like, wow, they talk about hard work, they talk about how they got there. But wouldn't it be cool to talk to kids who are 20, 21 who are working towards that? Like,
Exactly.
at the same rate? Someone you could hear like, whoa, these kids are 20 years old with this mindset. What happens if that rubs off on you or you guys rub off on us and we grow and we create a better generation? Like they say our generation is whack or whatever they want to say, but I feel like our generation is amazing. And if we stick together, like I think it would be huge. So that's my goal with this. And I told Sal the same thing. It's like, it's all positivity here. We're not going to talk about no negative stuff, no drama. No. It's about positive. It's about growing. The main topic here is going to be about college and about really what to expect about college and how to maybe go in there thinking a mindset of success right away. It took me a couple of years. It took me a heart attack to really realize what I really had and the second chance that I was provided. So I think it'd be huge to make a podcast of 20, 21-year-olds who go to a mid to low Division I school and what our lifestyle is really like and where we're working towards to get to where The Rock and where A-Rod is in those big times. Because I really feel like I could be successful. So does Sal. And we're moving towards that. So that's like.
Yeah, so basically going off what Ali was talking about, you know, the whole focus of this podcast, you know, is to get a foundation of the youth. You know, we're the youth, you know, we're the rising generation, as you may say. And especially during these times, you know, this is for critical thinkers. And especially our age, you know, we're going to invest our time right now into, you know, overcoming any obstacle that was similar to this in the future. You know, many of us weren't prepared for this, adults include, you know. Let's talk about our professors, for instance. You know, we all immediately had to move to Zoom. You know, like Ali could attest to this, especially with his courses, man. It was difficult in the beginning, you know, moving from physical classes, going in person, to now everything's online via, you know, Zoom, an online platform. And, you know, you don't get to, you know, see anybody. Everything's through webcam like we are in right now. But it's a whole different landscape. And the thing is with us, you know, especially when we first came to the school, right? Let's talk about our beginnings, right? When I first was choosing, you know, what university I wanted to go to, you know, it was difficult for me. You know, I had 10 options and I kind of wanted to stay local. I wanted to stay in state, you know, I wanted to be by family. My mother, Ali knows, she loves me to death and just doesn't want me to leave. And I felt guilty and I was like, you know what, all right, let me invest into, you know, colleges that not only is going to suit me and my career, but will also be close to my family and they could still support me and love me in person. So when I was looking through colleges, you know, that was the difficult part. You know, what was financially suitable for me? What was gonna make sure, what would be, you know, accessible for me into my career, for my future, you know, especially with the certain programs. And also, will I have the possibility to network? I was thinking of that. I was thinking of that as a senior, you know, in high school, you know, we were all joking, you know, whatever, you know, it's a goof off here. But first year of college, man, like that's the change. And this is, you know, a message to all you kids like graduating from high school. You know, you obviously didn't get your graduation that you wanted this year, and certainly we can attest to that, man. Like you guys, it sucks that you guys had to miss out on it. But nevertheless, life moves on, and God has something else in front of you. You're gonna have another moment where, you know, though you missed on this opportunity, there's gonna be a bigger opportunity for you, basically. And for us, it was the whole transition to college. I'll talk about my part. I wasn't an athlete. I was a 4-year, basketball player in high school, but I was never, D1 caliber like Ali over here. When I was looking at colleges, obviously I had to make that sacrifice of saying, all right, man, I'm done with basketball, like as a sport and professional, like if I wanted to play professionally. Basically now it's like, now I got to move into business. I've always wanted business. I've loved business, especially in the accounting field. And when I looked at SDU, I did love the community. It was a small community, of course. It's not like those big colleges like, Rutgers, New Brunswick, or, like the big names like Duke or North Carolina. It was a small community-based, it was a private university, though. It wasn't like a community college. It was still a well-known university. So I did a drop-in class. That's what kids would do. I don't know if you, Ali, did you do something like that? A drop-in class? Like you tried out a class like in high school?
No? I didn't even know what college was in high school. So
so basically what a drop-in class was, if you don't know what it is. So I was a junior in high school, and when I was looking at courses or classes, I would basically come in as a guest. Like, you're not a student, but you could still come in there as a viewer of the class. And it was for an accounting class. There was a woman, I don't know what her name was, something Rowland, I think, Professor Rowland. But when I came in, the thing that caught my eye was that it wasn't boring. I thought it was going to be boring. I was like, I know accounting is going to be all numbers and stuff. You've taken accounting, man. You know that it's like just tons of reading and all that, problem solving. But it wasn't boring because of the fact that she was able to know everyone's names and still make scenarios and problems, including everyone in it. And it made it like real world problems that you could apply into your future, into anyone's career. That's the biggest thing that I took out of that program, or the drop-in class. And that's the whole reason why I chose that university. Just because of the professors that, manifest their time to not only teach the students, not to memorize, but to know and how to apply it into their future. But you could continue off of like how you, chose SDU. What was your opinion there?
I mean, it's great to hear Sal's too, because there you have another perspective. It's cool. I'm Hispanic, so I come from a whole different background. I came from a background where I'm an immigrant, so I had to learn English when I was 4. I had to go through that whole progress. It's a whole nother story for another time, but it was a tough transitioning to the United States. I struggled a lot at a young age. It was difficult. So going into high school, got brought up to varsity when I was a freshman. Pretty tough transition, if you ask me. I was innocent kid, didn't really know much about anything, and go up to a varsity high school team and hear about all these things they're doing, which sounded cool. I had no clue that was even allowed. And it was really a changing experience for me. It really changed my mindset. So, through that time, it was difficult trying to make, guys love me and stuff like that. And hey, I learned. But the thing that really, really stuck out to me was the fact that I didn't even know what college was. I didn't know what Division I, Division II, Division III was. I'm Dominican. I just play baseball. I'm thinking about you go to pros. That's what I'm thinking about. But then I realized, there's Division I, Division II, Division III, and I haven't really been scouted because I haven't been at any really big time events. I didn't really know none of it. I kind of just went with the flow. So as time went on, I was like, oh shoot, like, won MVP my senior year, like really did really well my senior year, and still like was a little confused at where I was gonna go. But I ended up going to camp in FDU. Literally showed up to one camp, right away got offered. And I had Wagner like the next day, and McKay, the coach that was there during the time, was like, you have 24 hours to make a decision. And I had no really decision. I had maybe Division III coming after me. That's the only people that really saw me during that time. So that's something that I it was difficult, you know? And so went to FDU, had no clue what I wanted to do, had nothing, no idea, no nothing. And I was like, well, I'm here to play baseball. I'm a jock, like they say, a jock. I'm going to just play baseball, figure it out then. But then I started realizing more and more, like, hold up, there's more than just baseball, you know? Life is more than just baseball here. And college, I just took it for how it was the first 2 years of my life. And then sophomore year was where everything really clicked. It was like, oh shoot, like there's things to do, maybe a business department. And then I was on the FaceTime with my cousin, someone I look up to, John Peralta, without a doubt, one of the people I look up to the most. He's like, yo, try finance. I don't even know what finance was. I had no clue. I was like, finance, like accounting? He's like, somewhat a little bit. I look into it. I'm like, bet, I'm out. Let's do this. Took the first class and struggled a lot, but I don't know why. It's just something competitive about finance that I loved about it. And I went with that and I started really digging my hands into school. And I wasn't, you see how Sal's blessed, naturally like smart, naturally like really, really gifted. Really gifted. Really gifted right there. You know what I'm saying?
Nah.
But you know, but let me wait. Give me 1 second, Sal.
I got you.
You know, for me, it was a little more difficult. Like I got to really study, but I had to learn how to study in school. That's what really was tricking me. It wasn't that you're smart or dumb. It's how do you study? How do you really look at things? Because I thought me looking at it once was going to teach me, and that's not how it works. College don't work like that. You know what I mean? Like that's not how it works. So I had to learn that the hard way. And so now I'm here. And I really got to admit, I feel like after my whole heart attack situation, some people love to me that don't understand that situation. And that's for another time. But that situation kind of changed my whole life. So now that I'm here, I'm really focused. I have a 5-year plan, and that's what I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to grow every day more and more. And especially, I have a little cousin. His name is Steven, and he looks up to me. And I want to create a route, and my little sister, Brandon Tavares, create a route where they can look up to me and be a good role model. You know, that's really my goal, and that's who I am, and that's what I'm trying to do with this podcast.
Now, listen, I want to go into that topic about, you know, it actually goes along with the topic of transitioning to the university. So his point on, you know, being blessed as a person that studies or whatever, naturally intelligent. Listen, I won't deny it. Some people have that. Some people have that gift. But I will be frank with you, bro. When I was in high school, it took me a while to even be in the top 10% of my high school. And that's just simply because, one, I was lazy. I was very introvert. I was never the type of kid to, you know, go out, ask questions, especially from my teachers, or even go to extra help like that. My issue was that I had an problem how to study properly. Exactly what Ali was saying. You know, it's a totally different, you know, style and repetition studying university, and college in general. So how I took it was I would watch a lot of, you know, listen to motivational speeches and listen to hard work. You know, how a person can manifest in their work ethic and to put it into their game or whatever, you know, form of things that they're doing. So for me, I kind of took it as, you know, when Ali for example, I'm like studying for an exam, right? Ali would be like, yo, how are you doing this? Like, how are you getting a certain grade in this course when, you know, I'm struggling or whatever? You know, I always give him the same answer, and it's honest. It's just me redoing problems, you know, redoing calculations and all that. So I get a common stick in my head that I know the formula, I know what the question's asking for, and I know certain words that is being explained. That's basically just constant hard work and practice. It has nothing to do with, you know, memorization. Like I said, the reason I chose the university is because these are courses that it's just not, you know, teaching you to memorize. It's business courses that teach you to take certain fundamentals, formulas, and to apply it, like I said.
To piggyback off Sal.
One more thing though. What I was gonna say is how you know, a common example I use is, you know, for example, Ali, when you were practicing as a baseball player, you would practice your swings, right? To a certain calculation on to hitting the, you know, the ball with the bat. Same thing with basketball. It's the repetition of shots. You know, your form is what matters, and that's what sinks the shot. So my repetition was, you know, continuously practicing problems, rereading certain paragraphs and questions. So when I see that problem, it's like me sinking a shot because I know what the hell to do. And that's pretty much it. It's nothing like, certain people who do have that, blessed aspect, but some people have to work the hard way. And that's what I have to go through. And I'm telling Ali that every day. So you can continue. What were you going to say?
No, I think Sal really hit in the head, and I was just messing around with him with the gift of part. One thing I started doing that I call it my second life, my second chance. I started associating myself with the right people. So now in my life, I'm picking people to be in my life. Like I'm really picking people, investing in my friendship, investing in myself in the sense of with the people I surround myself with. One quote one person told me one time that really stuck to my head was, "You're the sum of the 5 people you surround yourself with." And that's something that hit me hard. So I'm like, holy shit. Sorry for my language, but
we'll edit it out. You're good.
That's huge. That's huge. Like that's so true. So then I started associating myself with Sal became one of my best friends, Simone, Uribe, Mati, people who really cared about me, really people who really like were genuine friends to me. And I have more friends I haven't mentioned, Alvin Syme, a whole bunch of y'all. And then my family too. And I started associating myself and I saw a transition. Like one of my friends, Simone, I used to be like, bro, how are you so smart? Like, I'm so dumb. And he said, that's why you're never going to be smart. Because you say you're dumb. And if you keep saying that in your mindset, you're never going to be smart. And that hit me like that. I was like, yo, that's so true. And he's like, yeah, bro, you work hard. You just don't believe in yourself. In baseball, talking to anybody, I'm confident. Business deal, whatever, like going to internships, talking, I'm fine with that. Going on the camera, talking, I'm fine with that. But when it comes to school, I shrivel up. I get nervous. And that's where I started working towards that. I'm like, oh my God, that's so true. And I worked and I worked and I worked. And to be honest with you, I almost cried this semester. I got a 3.8. Like, wow. What have I ever thought I would get a 3.8 ever, ever, ever in my life? And that's, again, that comes revolving around and comes back to this podcast. Like, this growth that I've had, the growth that Sal's had, it's just going to help your learning curve even more by listening to the podcast, even like a minute a day, or even if you listen to clips about it, or even if you reach out to me more and we add you to the show, like, it's just going to add to your future even more. Like, this is something that, yes, people are going to make fun of us. People are going to laugh at us. People are going to do, we don't care. The negativeness, you can keep the negative over there. If you're positive, come to us, reach to us. And if you're negative and you want to reach out too. It's okay. We love you, whatever. But that's just the goal with this podcast. And I'm blessed that I picked a great partner like Sal, and he picked me as well. And we're going to grow this as much as we can and see if we could really imagine how cool it would be to hear a kid who's 10 or 11 years old or 15 or 16 years old going to college and reach out to us like, I'm not going to lie, your podcast has really changed my life and my mindset, and you guys became a mentor. Because mentors, everybody says get a mentor, but it's very scary to reach out to a mentor because you don't know, you're sometimes nervous and like, oh, how they're going to feel. Mm-hmm. But if you watch a podcast with two people who are a little ahead of you, I guess, like seniors and juniors.
Experience.
It's experience. It's going to be a lot easier for you to, oh, wow, that's what I want to do. And it's easier for you to reach out. And I think that's my goal. And that's really my goal. And let's get this going, baby.
Now, listen, the other thing is that we're not just here for entertainment. We're obviously here, like Ali was saying, for information. We're here to help. And the other thing is that also, besides, the academics, the business, we will still have some form of entertainment because obviously, viewers aren't just here just for lessons, you know what I'm saying? Like he's just dancing over here trying to get some attention. But what we will have is, guests revolving around certain areas in the world, such as, sports. Ali right here, he was a baseball player for FDU, D1 program. And, he was able to manifest into the sport and as well into academics. And that's something that is difficult for certain athletes. How can I average, 3.0 and above when I got so much time, invested into sports? Because, I don't know if, you're familiar, like a lot of athletes, have to put in 6 a.m. to all the way to like at night, like for certain days when you're working out. And like it's so hard to find time to study or, invest in that time. So put your input on that.
The most difficult part of going to a mid-level Division I school is not the fact that we practice less than what Notre Dame or those big-time schools do. Is the problem is the funds we have. So we'll practice the same amount as them, but they have like snack areas. They have all this stuff. They have all these
which you can't control.
Which we can't control that, and it's a lot difficult. But it's something that teaches you so much of time management. You grow so much. Like time management is huge. It doesn't matter if you're an athlete or if you're not. It's like time management is huge. We have to sometimes do the work that's due Friday on Monday because the whole week is already clogged up with work, with baseball, with all that stuff, and it's like a lot to handle. A lot to handle.
I was gonna say we should low key do like a word of the day, like for a podcast, and I would say time management is the key word here. Time management applies anybody, anywhere.
Anybody.
For me, especially, when you transition to the college, life now, you have classes that are very separated for some people, and then you think it's a joke just because you have off days. Those off days are your hardworking days. That's you basically having to study for certain classes ahead of time so you're ready for questions being asked in class. Because people think like class participation is just a joke. It's like in high school, you're just there to sit in there and then just basically look at the board and watch the teacher write for 2 hours. No, this is you basically. You have to, ask questions, answer them, or you'll be like held accountable. You will be like, so Sal didn't study. Shows that Sal didn't study, and you lose points for that, and 2, it will show on your exam that you weren't ready because you weren't putting in the work in the off days. Similar to like practicing for a sport, you didn't put in work in the off days, and this is what your performance is going to be now. So basically, to put what Ali was talking about, time management is the key, term for this podcast today, because time management applies, like I said, for classes, but also in life. It comes down to work. You're going to have, for instance, I'm heavily involved on campus. I'm part of the FU athletics. I'm basically having the life of an athlete, even though I'm not an athlete. Because one, I was a mascot, believe it or not. I was a mascot from school. Yeah, I was in that big, blue horse outfit. Very difficult to like look and talk, even breathe in that. And when we went to March Madness, I'm going to keep that story for later on, but just to put it down short, it's a lot of sacrifice of time. And you do have to manage that time. How am I going to study in between these time slots? So again, I was a mascot. I'm also right now the head manager for the men's basketball team. It's a lot of, sacrifice of time. It's like I really have leisure time. He'll be like, let's play some PS4. Like, I barely have the time nowadays. Obviously, I have it now with this whole COVID-19, pandemic. But, when it comes down to like being on campus, man, it's really hard. You're very busy. So you want to talk about what other stuff you're involved in, Ali?
Man, round of applause. Sal really gets involved, man. Sal's in everything.
That was one part. I didn't even go into
Sal,
detail.
He didn't even go into detail, but Sal is involved, man.
Yeah.
OD. I mean, former Division I baseball player. That's another story for another day. But health situations, difficult. Separate way. Former Division I baseball player. Vice president investment club. Invited to many events. It's tough when you're a student athlete to be part of a lot of things, and it's like, I want to do that. I want to be the guy that people like. How do you do that? Being a student athlete, how could you? How did you get those connections? Like, I remember the Hall of Fame gala. Wow, what an experience in the city.
Wish I went to that.
It was a dope experience, and it was like really cool. And I had a lot of athletes come up to me like, how could it be possible? And I said, I network. Another big word for another day. And it's just making the best out of your experience. So let me put you this perspective, right? You go to Duke University. Like people say, you go to these big time schools, you're a little number, right? So then you come back and graduate, you go, Duke was fun, but I was just another number. You go to FDU because it's too small. I went to FDU, I didn't focus because it's too small. Make the best out of your experience. Become more than just a number at Duke. Become more just a number at FDU. Become someone that when you graduate, they'll remember. And more importantly, that you know you did your best. I'm not afraid to fail. I'm not. I'm really not. I'm okay with failure because I know I put my all into it. I'm passionate about everything I do. That's why when friendships go south, I get hurt. If anything goes south relationship-wise, I get hurt because I invest in that person. I invest in my friendship. I invest in my life. And when that happens, I get hurt. And that's okay with me. That's failure. That's things I learn. I just keep molding myself. You get what I'm saying? So it's about growing. Especially, again, I repeat in this podcast, that's the important part. This is all open book here. It's about growing. I hope people reach out to me, give me questions. Imagine growing this to a community thing and having tons of people from the community. You don't have to be rich and famous. Who are we? We're nobodies. We're nobodies yet. Remember that, yet. We're nobodies yet. But be part of this process. Grow with us. Grow together because we could really, really, really make a difference. And one last thing I want to say, I remember my goal is to be a millionaire at 27. That's my goal. People are like, you're crazy. Millionaire, that's crazy, right?
Speak into existence.
You speak it into existence. And one person told me one time, entrepreneur told me, why do you want to be a millionaire? And I froze. Just to say I'm a millionaire? What does a millionaire do? And I really found my purpose. I want to be a millionaire so I could be financially secure, so I could give back to my community and help the kids that were in my shoes during that time. And I could help and help that learning process, that curve, be a better curve and for them to learn even more. Really get back to my community, really grow my community, really be someone impactful, give speeches, tell my story, impact the youth. That's what I want to do with my millions and grow it. And that's where I'm focused on. That's what my focus is. That's the point of this whole podcast. This is the start. So
absolutely. Talking about goals, that was one of the biggest things. I made sure that's a big key thing in life. You have to have goals. There's a difference between dreams and goals. Dreams is obviously that huge goal of yours that you've always, had since you were a little kid or whatever, like for instance, being a millionaire. But you have to set small goals in between them to get to that dream. A dream is just a long road path. But if you don't have goals that get you there step by step, then that dream it's not guaranteed. So what I like to do is I like to make short-term goals, which then lead me to my long-term goals, and then will lead me to my dream. So for instance, talk about the fact that, when I first chose my university, it was very hard to get certain scholarships. I got like one scholarship, and it was the presidential scholarship. It helped a lot. It did help a lot. But, what I wanted to do was I didn't want to graduate with any loans. I wanted to go into school. I was a commuter too at the time when I first came in. And, I was like, damn, I'm going to miss out on the college life. I'm going to miss out on that college experience. So what I did was I had to put in the hard work, like Ali said, network with people, get to know other people, and then, of course, be heavily involved on campus, which I've been doing. So when I started off with that, that's where small scholarships were starting to roll in. So let's talk about organizations I was joining. So one big one I joined was Student Government Association. This is basically like the student body of our university. They help establish, certain programs, events for kids on campus and even off campus, for commuters to get involved as well. And I was a commuter. So that was the first organization I ever joined. And that literally like kickstarted my whole career at FDU. I was like Ali was saying, like we're nobodies right now in, the public eye, outside of our university, but you have to start off small. So I was a nobody at my university at this time.
We became somebody.
And I became a somebody. My first time was and this is where it hit me the most, that I was like, wow, my life has really changed for the better, was when I first went to it was the preseason game in the Rothman, right? And I've never seen, a college basketball team like play before. I've always been around my high school team. We probably went to like certain games. I think we did go to one FDU game, but it was very foggy in my memory, so I didn't really remember it too much. But when I witnessed like the players go, like it was my first time seeing Jalil play, Elijah,
My boy.
Mike Holloway. Mike Holloway was a stud when I was watching him play. It was my first time, seeing somebody dunk like that. I never see, like, people will be like, it's mediocre, it was a dunk. For me, my high school, we had nobody dunking. Everyone was just doing layups and 3-pointers. We had one kid that would dunk. He graduated my junior year.
Yo.
It was extinct after that. So, not to shoot any shots at my school, but we just had a lot of small kids.
It's not Division I.
It's not for high school. We were like Group 1. We were the smallest. We were like one of the smallest high schools.
Think about that.
So I didn't have that experience. So when I first came and watched them in the Rothman, it was awesome. So then I started to have certain kids in my class. So I had business ethics my first semester, and I had certain baseball players that I got to meet before Ali, and basketball players. So first basketball players I was meeting were BJ and Caleb Bishop, who just recently graduated.
Bavso.
They were studs when I was watching them play. And Caleb was a huge part of that run in March Madness. So
the nicest human being you'll meet.
Exactly. And these were kids that like had no idea.
Like 6'8".
The man is six, literally like has the same physique as Paul George if you watch them in the league. So
you get scared when you see him.
Having the kids in the classes now, it's crazy because you try not to be a fan or anything. You try to like connect with them as friends first. But sometimes it would just be like, like you're just gonna see them in class. They would just use you as like help for certain work, and then you're not gonna talk to them again. Sometimes I was feeling like that a little bit, but when it started to come down that I joined being the mascot, everybody was starting to like recognize me. When I
got the moves too. Sal's not telling y'all he got the moves. That white boy can dance.
We'll get into that. We'll get into that in another time.
Yo, that white boy can dance.
The thing that like really like again with the moves was the fact that people thought I was black. People thought they had no idea who was under the mask. They were like dapping me up in the game. And my first game was the women's game. The women's team at the time, they weren't the best. I don't think they had a good season, but nevertheless, I was bringing so much entertainment, and that was the sole reason that, my boss at the time, his name is Eddie Davies, he took me in and said, yo, you want to come to March Madness? Him and another girl, I forgot her name. I have to get her name down, but they invited me. It was during spring break, and they were like, Sal, you want to come to March Madness with us? Meanwhile, I'm studying for a whole accounting exam, just getting, my studies in. And I get asked, because this is a bucket list moment, going to March Madness. This is something I've always watched as a kid. You get to watch the greats that were on that stage, like freaking Anthony Davis, Doug McDermott was tearing it up. Freaking Jimmer, Gordon Hayward, and that whole, rivalry between Duke and North Carolina. This all was in between, March Madness. And I'll never forget that moment because I got to go on the court. And when I got out of the court, this is like, first of all, Dayton University literally has an NBA. I don't know if you've ever been to Dayton, bro. They literally have an NBA-sized arena. Like, it was insane. The technology was crazy.
I think we beat them in baseball one year. I forgot. I don't know if
they
beat us by one. But yeah, but I don't know if they beat us by 1-1 or we beat them by 1-1. I don't remember, but
their campus, insane. It looked insane. You could just imagine like as if you were going to an NBA game. So when I was exposed to that atmosphere, I was just like, holy crap, I'm here. This is like a thing I was watching as a kid, and now I'm here for free. So the thing that
How amazing is that though? How amazing is that? Like imagine telling your kids in like 20 years, 10 years. Like telling your kids like I did that. Like, how cool would that be, man?
Exactly. And it wasn't like, like I didn't see it coming. Like, it was just totally unexpected in my life. And when I went there, it was right before the game, I remember. Guy from CBS comes up to me. He asks me, "Hey, Nitro, that's the name of our mascot. Can you come down and meet with Reggie Miller for a pick?" Reggie Miller. Reggie Miller, I don't know if you know him. He's an
Who
NBA
doesn't know
legend.
Reggie? Come on now. Who doesn't know
Three
Reggie?
point 3-point legend.
Yeah.
You know, he's on that list, top 5.
Last
And
Dance. In the Last Dance, too. Come
in
on
the
now.
last, he was the biggest rival for Jordan. And he freaking shocked the world with that 3 in the playoffs to extend it to Game 7. People forget about that. That's another topic as well. But again, a legend. The guy asked me, what's my name? What's my full name? I'm like, Xheraj. He's like, all right, come down. We're going to go take that pick with Reggie. So the other team didn't have a mascot. It was supposed to be like a pick where Reggie's like basically like a referee, and like I would be here and then the other mascot would be here, and it would be like a face-off, right? The other team didn't have a mascot. It was Prairie View A&M. That was the team we played for the first round, or the first 4, I would say. We beat them.
Amazing.
So
she was dope.
I walk up, right? I'm going there, and I just see this tall figure, right? He's lanky. He's still lanky. The guy, like, he's still in shape. I realize he does cycling. That's what he does. He rides the bike a lot on the mountains, and he's crazy in fit. He's crazy, like, in physique-wise. So I walk up to him, and I'm like, holy crap, this is Reggie Miller. This is the legend, This is the guy that's, like, Spike Lee choking, right? Scoring 8 points in, like, freaking, like, 5 seconds. Like, this is the real deal. So I walk in, and Reggie comes up to me. He's like, "You're Xheraj. Nice to meet you. Let's take this pic together." I was like, oh my God, this guy knows my name. Like, I understand. Like,
it's hard not to go fanboy right there.
Listen, oh my God, starstruck. I told the CBS guy my name, but I didn't think Reggie was gonna say it flat out. And he said it, my last name, decently. Like, listen, like, if you look at my name, it's Xheraj. He said it pretty close. And when he told me to take the picture, he said my name. I was just like, wow. Like, this is like a moment in my life where I was like, anything is possible. I was like, KG, man, in the finals. Anything is possible. You just got to put your mind into it. So, people would be like, man, why are you going to be a mascot? Isn't that embarrassing? And for some moments, it was a little embarrassing. I won't lie, Big moment was during the Gonzaga game, and I was doing a dance-off with the Gonzaga mascot. He knows what I'm about to say. I did a dance move, basically did a split on the beat drop. It was a Chris Brown song.